All right, it is now 5:18 and we will call the April 30th, 2024 meeting to order. Suki, would you like to explain our translation services that are available this evening?
Sure. Thank you, Chair. So live interpretation of this entire meeting will be provided in Spanish. To access live interpretation services, please click the interpretation globe icon in your Zoom webinar controls and then select the Spanish language. At this time, I would like my colleague Kenya or Kim to provide these instructions in Spanish.
Muy buenas tardes. Para esta junta de esta tarde ofreceremos interpretación en vivo de forma simultánea. Por favor, encuentre el icono del globo terráqueo al calce de la página de su pantalla. Haga clic en Spanish o español para escuchar toda esta junta en español. Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So the item up next on the agenda is the swearing in of our new commissioners, Eugene Jackson and Jennifer Blanco. We have two oaths that they'll be taking tonight. The first one is the traditional oath that is taken by all commissioners in San Mateo County when they are appointed to a position. And the second one is specific to our commission, and it has to deal with confidentiality. So we call it the oath of confidentiality. So they have both oaths in front of them. And so I will go ahead and turn it over to the Honorable Judge Cho to go ahead and swear in Eugene Jackson and Jennifer Blanco. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
And Jennifer Blanco and Eugene Jackson, I ask you to raise your right hands. Okay. And Eugene, maybe a little lower because it's gonna be a while. Okay. Okay. And then we'll do this simultaneously. So and then state your name.
I, Jennifer Blanco,
I, Eugene Jackson,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well
and that I will well
and faithfully discharge
and faithfully discharge
the duties I am about to enter.
the duties I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
Your Honor, do you have the oath of confidentiality with you?
I do not have that oath with me.
Okay, am I able to send it in the chat, or how can I do
I think
it?
if you, what Monroe did last time, he shared a screen and then.
Oh, okay, all right, let me do that.
Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen and hopefully be able to see it. Okay, can you see that okay?
I can.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you so much.
Okay, so, I will go ahead and administer the oath of confidentiality then and ask you to raise your right hand again for this purpose. Okay, and please repeat after me. Recognizing that all juvenile court matters are confidential,
Recognizing that all juvenile court matters are confidential,
and state your name,
I, Jennifer Blanco,
as a member of the San Mateo County Juvenile Justice Commission,
as a member of the San Mateo County Juvenile Justice Commission,
agree to keep potentially identifying youth information, case records, cases observed, and other protected knowledge confidential. In addition, I agree to use the authority of the commission only in the interest of the youth of the county and to use discretion, diligence, and integrity in conducting the business of the commission. Do I need to read that final line?
Yes, please.
Okay. I understand this oath of confidentiality and have read and understood the operating policies of the San Mateo County Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Commissions.
Of the San Mateo County Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Commission.
Wonderful. Okay. Congratulations again.
Nice. Thank you so much, Yolanda. All right, so welcome aboard. Now we're going to do our roll call.
Thank you, Chair. Karen Huber Levy?
Present.
Thank you. Ruchi Montani is absent. Jennifer Blanco?
Present.
Thank you. Paul Bocanegra is currently absent. Whitney Ginevra? Thank you. Steve Grieve is absent. Eugene Jackson?
Present.
Thank you. Wesley Liu?
Present.
Maya Nori?
Present.
Satwik Nori?
Present.
Susan Swope?
Here.
Thank you. Tiffany Uhila Hato?
Present.
Yes. Commissioner Hato, you're able to participate, but you won't be able to vote. For the meeting purposes, you are absent, but you're still as a member of the public.
Okay. Thank you.
And I believe Paul had raised his hand, but he's online, so I think
Yes,
coming in.
yes,
So for now, he's absent.
yes.
And Chair Rasmus.
I'm here. I'm here. Thank you so much. All right, so now we're at item 2, which is public comment, and I think I saw that we have a public comment.
That's correct. I'll take public comment from this room first. Shakil Ali.
Yes, hi, Council Mayor.
You can stand and I'll give you
Yeah,
the.
thank you so much.
Okay, thanks for having me. I'm just here to commend the 2 new commissioners, Mr. Jackson and Ms. Blanco. Ms. Blanco actually invited me here, so thank you for inviting me. And I really commend all of you for the work that you're doing to protect our most vulnerable youth. And we live in a state that over incarcerates. So whatever we can do to correct this, and I'm also an educator, I'm a teacher, I'm a school board member. So let's keep them in the schools, and out of the prison. So thank you.
Thank you for being here. All right. Do you have any other public comment?
Members of the public on Zoom, if you wish to speak on non-agenda items, please raise your hand now. Okay, no hands are raised, so that's end of public comment.
Oh, I
sorry.
apologize.
Oh.
I apologize. Welcome. Go ahead and stand. I apologize.
I don't need a microphone. I speak.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
I'm superintendent of the San Mateo Foster State School District here, Diego Ochoa, and I'm here just to congratulate the 2 newest members and just to speak about the importance of you all investing your time and giving this topic its due attention. I grew up in the prison system. My father was incarcerated for 7 years. And when someone is incarcerated, the whole family goes, not just the person behind bars. Everyone is affected through it. So as an educator, I think we all need to think about what groups like you all can do to uplift this whole community and to think about every single family and every child as a person of great work. And just thank you very, very much for doing this and for putting the time to give these folks the attention they deserve.
Thank you so much. Do we have any other comments? And we're good? Okay, thank you. All right, item number 3 is action to set the agenda. I do have one change, which is item 5A. I move to take that off of tonight's agenda, and that is a system update from Supervisor Canepa, who is unable to be with us this evening. Do I have a motion to otherwise?
I will we accept the agenda with that change.
I second that motion.
Thank you so much.
You can do all in favor.
All in favor of to set the agenda as modified, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any abstentions? Any opposed? All right, so unanimous that we've set the agenda. Next item is the approval of the meeting minutes. Suki, may I ask, do I have to do these individually?
You can do it
Okay,
together.
all right. So do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes for November, December, January, February, and March?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
You seconded?
Amanda Nori. Leslie first. All right.
And before I take the roll call,
Yes.
let me ask if there's any comments
Yeah,
for,
there are some corrections. January, it should be minutes rather than meeting. We have draft.
Okay, thank you.
And Amaya, I believe, was online at that meeting.
Okay.
Let's see, I think that was all for that one.
That's good.
And for the February minutes, those are just typos.
Okay.
March, we have Sanam's name spelled wrong.
I
Yeah,
apologize.
That's my mistake.
So, but I
Got it.
move that we accept the minutes with those changes. I amend the motion to accept the minutes with those changes.
All right.
So
Do we have a
the-
second for that?
Yeah.
the maker, do you accept those? And then the second, Corinne? Who seconded
It was
it?
me.
Yes.
All those in favor? Say
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All those who wish to abstain? All right, the minutes are,
Yeah, I need to.
I apologize.
I need to. For the
Okay,
minutes.
okay, so we have 2 abstentions. Commissioner Blanco and Commissioner Jackson are abstaining from that vote. Otherwise, the meeting, the minutes are passed as corrected.
For the record, you are able to vote on the minutes as long as they were provided to you at the beginning of the meeting. So if you want to abstain, that's up to you. So
Right.
but you are able to vote if you ever wanted to on the minutes.
Thank you for that clarification. And I'd like to also make for the record that Commissioner Bocanegra has joined us and it's 5:32. Okay, well, that's wonderful. Now we've got all of that business taken care of. We are now on to an update from our membership. Commissioner Magtani is unable to be with us tonight, so Vice Chair Huber Levy is going to be providing a brief update on membership and the candidacy of Kenneth Williams.
Hi, good evening, everyone. We have 2 open positions on the commission, and our membership committee met to interview Kenneth Williams, who has been attending our meetings over the past 6 months. And we are proposing introducing Kenneth Williams as a candidate for appointment to the commission tonight. To tell you a little bit about Kenneth, Kenneth is a lifelong resident of San Mateo County. He lives and works in East Palo Alto. He's currently working at the nonprofit community organization Live in Peace. He's a life coach, bike shop manager. He's directing the Boys to Men's programs and also managing the makerspace. His passion is developing talent. And we learned that that is particularly so for the young people who may not have had anyone else to take the time to do so in their lives. He loves working with kids and advocating for youth, and his work with youth has already brought him to the Youth Services Center many times to support and counsel youth there. He's known to the youth, they trust him, and the support that Live in Peace provides to the community in East Palo Alto. In our interview with Kenneth, we learned about his commitment to providing youth with educational and training opportunities to support genuine transformation and rehabilitation. And we are very excited to hear some of the ideas and programs he's working on, and his desire to bring these programs to the community. He is eager to put his energy and skills to use in supporting the commission's work. He's made it a priority to attend meetings regularly in person over the past 6 months, and he's learned much about the work of the JJDPC. So on the unanimous recommendation of the membership committee, it's my pleasure to move that the commission approve Kenneth Williams' appointment to the JJDPC.
Thank you. And being that that's a committee recommendation, we don't need a second.
We do not.
Okay, so do we need a roll call vote for this, Suki?
No.
Okay, all right. All those in favor of approving the candidacy of Kenneth Williams to the San Mateo County Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention Commission, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Unanimously passes. That's wonderful. We're very excited tonight. Kenneth Williams to be here. He is not, he had a conflict tonight. He's been here every other meeting. But he did have a conflict tonight.
You'll have to listen to the video to hear all the nice things we said.
Yes, yes. Did you want to give the update about Zahara or? do you want me to do it?
I can share with the commissions that Zahara is off to college shortly and has decided to resign from the commission and kind of focus on some of her priorities before leaving for college. So we thank Zahara for her contributions while she was on the commission, in particular the website innovations that she shared with us and her enthusiastic participation in various projects, and wish her well for her future.
Did she say what college she's off to?
She's going to Oxford.
Yes, she's going to Oxford in London. Yes, she's busy.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Do we need to take public comment on membership update?
Sure. Members of the public, if you wish to comment on item 4C or D, please do raise your hand now in Zoom. Or anybody from this conference room. Okay, no comments?
Thank you so much. Okay, next up, item number 5 is updates from our system partners, and we'll start with Ron Reyes from the Private Defender Program. Welcome, Ron.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. So for the last 4 weeks, we assigned 29 cases. Of the breakdown of those 29 cases, 7 of them were detention, and another 3 detention contains 707B allegations. 16 were out of custody arraignment, and 3 out of the out of custody arraignments also contain 707B allegations. We also handled 12 sealings, and then we received and consulted with 21 kids on our Miranda hotline.
That's wonderful. 12 ceilings. That's high.
Yeah, I mean, they come, it's kind of like go up and down. So yeah,
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we do a fair amount throughout the year and end up being, about between 120 to 150 seatings a year.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
Can you explain what ceilings are?
Yes, ceilings are when a youth completes their, have been adjudicated or had a prior contact with law enforcement or some kind of record with the juvenile justice system, and they have completed everything they were required to do, or if they did not even were arrested, they entitled to seal their record. So commonly we call it sealing. The code sections that apply, it's either Welfare Institution Code Section 786 or 781.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? No? You want to take public?
Sure. Members of the public, if you wish to comment on item 5B regarding the Private Defender Program update, please raise your hand. Okay, no hands are raised. Back to you.
Thank you so much. Next up is updates from our partners at the probation department.
Hi, good evening. I'm Matt Cullen, Assistant Deputy Chief of Juvenile Probation. And we're just gonna report out on diversion cases or cases going through the court system. And that would be 139. And then there's on supervision, 184 cases.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sinam Aram, Superintendent of Institutions. And currently our population, we have 29 youth in custody, 24 males, 5 females. We have currently 2 units open. We're serving 3 out of custody youths, 1 from Alameda County, 1 from Santa Clara County, and 1 from Contra Costa County. And on electronic monitoring, we have 18 currently being supervised. And then on a different note, we have a Cinco de Mayo celebration coming up for our youth this Sunday. And everybody's really excited to have we're hosting a car show for the youth so that, you know, they can get a little bit of that celebratory feeling to it. We're having people come in, bring cars in, serving food, music, letting them kind of have a good day.
That's beautiful. Thank you so
That's
much for going through all that effort to make sure they can celebrate. That's fantastic.
What about the hours?
So it's for if you guys were to come.
I was wondering,
It's
just in
not,
general.
well, it's kind of vague, like.
Oh, it's not set yet?
Yeah, a little vague, but between probably 9 to 1.
That's a good amount of time.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions for the probation department?
Sure.
Are the females, are they staying at Cape Camp or?
Yeah.
Oh, so
No, they're in the juvenile hall.
And do we have our diversion numbers? How many kids are in diversion?
139.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. I missed that. I apologize. Any other questions for? Okay, public comment?
Yep, members of the public, if you wish to comment on the update by probation department, please raise your hand. Okay, yes, Commissioner Hauto, please speak.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I'm not there, but who just reported? Sorry, I just couldn't hear the name.
Probation department, we had Nora Holland and Sanam Aram.
Hi, so is it possible, since AAPI month is May, that we could work together to do something for the kids in the hall that are, not only if they're not Pacific Islander, but we could do something for that day or the month? So is that something possible, since y'all are doing Cinco de Mayo? I mean, it could be a quick turnaround.
Commissioner, just so you're aware, last year they had a beautiful celebration for Asian Pacific Islander Month. We actually attended. They did dance and food, and it was a beautiful celebration. And it's my understanding that that will be happening again towards the end of the month. I don't want to probation though, but I just want to let you know that they've really been going out of their way to really sponsor these cultural festivals for our kids.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that, but yeah, can you loop me in on that? I can totally get us involved with whatever that is and just help support.
Sure, Tiffany, we'll definitely include you in plans. We're planning on doing something hopefully towards the end of this month.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, next up is behavioral health, and I see that we have Ornette Chohan here with us to give the update for behavioral health and recovery services.
Ornette Shom, I was giving you the permission to be a panelist, so please accept. Ornette Shoham, please unmute your mic.
Okay, well, maybe we could go on to the County Office of Education and Sarah Notch and check back with Ornette in a few minutes.
Good evening. Oh, thank you. Good evening, commissioners, partners, esteemed guests. I'm Sarah Notch. I'm the executive director of the Center for Access and Engagement with the San Mateo County Office of Education. Since the last meeting, there's not a tremendous amount of new information to report, so my update will be brief, though I do want to highlight a couple of key areas. The first is we had a very successful February Career Technical Education, or CTE, intercession course at Hillcrest, and we're excited to be able to offer another CTE intercession for our youth at Hillcrest during our second summer session. So that's we're in the planning phases for that. We continue to work on implementing our whole child focused school programs, strategic plan goals that were developed throughout last year. And we've been utilizing improvement science principles in our staff development sessions. We're also in the final stretches of LCAP development, and recently we're able to present an LCAP update at a board study session for the SMCOE board. And I think one thing that's really important to mention is that though it is a full 3-year rewrite, we're really excited about not just those longer term kind of systems change opportunities that will be introduced with the new goals and actions, but also very laser focused on immediate high leverage opportunities that can be implemented year one. So we're looking at immediate needs, we're looking at long-term needs, we're looking at building sustainable systems that we can just improve upon year after year. So there's a lot of opportunity that's being introduced with this LCAP rewrite. I don't think I have anything else. Just gratitude for having me here tonight, and appreciate the opportunity to bring you this update.
Thank you so much for being here, Sarah. We appreciate the partnership. Does anyone have any questions for Sarah? Yes.
I have a question. So the intercession course on CTE, was that attended by, how many of the students would have attended that at Hillcrest?
The one in February?
Yeah.
It was, we had 2 different sessions running so that we could separate them by their different units. So everybody who was able to participate based on having access to the school program at that time was included. So we had many students that attended the entire 15 days. We had some that were that came in kind of later based on their entry date and kind of moving through the intake process, but it was something that was open to all students who were able to attend.
And what was the topic?
It was entrepreneurship and exploring careers. So they had, it was amazing to see the CTE providers brought in 2 U-Hauls worth of materials, and the students did prototyping for sneaker design. They built modular houses and did landscape design. They created a food truck and a marketing plan for that. They wrote children's books. There are all these different projects to kind of explore different career opportunities while also introducing principles of growth mindset and kind of future thinking, as well as it integrated English, science, social science, and some math. So it was a really, really beautiful experience for the students and the staff to witness.
Wonderful. That sounds really exciting. Thank you.
It was great. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it sounds very relevant too. I know there's several kids who are interested in food trucks. So
yes.
That's fantastic.
The chair, I have a question.
Yes.
Hi, Sarah. Jennifer.
Is that Commissioner Blanco?
Yes, yes, it is.
Hi.
She's
it's nice to see you.
Congratulations on your promotions within the County Office of Ed. It's great to see you, and great to see you in a place where you can make major changes for our students. I do have a question for you. I don't know if we've done this already, but have the students been able to assessments regarding career options to see if what their interests are, where they can be matched up with possible career options, so they can make them start thinking, and also to see where their interests lie. I know that there's a couple of assessments that do those. I know one of them has like, I don't know, a couple hundred questions, but it's worthwhile for them just to start thinking about what their interests are, so when they start thinking about their career options.
That's a really fantastic question. I'll need to check in with our academic counselor, Lauren Sneed. She does a great job with helping students kind of think about what their different pathway options are post Hillcrest. But I've had experience with kind of the career aptitude tests and the different sort of interest tests in the past, and it definitely opens up ideas that students might not be thinking of initially. So it's a great thing. I'll look into that. And bring that up in conversation with our academic team.
Awesome.
Sorry that I don't have the answer for you right now. They might be doing it, but I'm not certain.
Oh, thank you.
Are there any other?
Hi, Sarah. It's Melissa Wilson.
Hi.
I am still interested in coming to a site council meeting. Where are meetings posted publicly so that I don't have to ask you?
I believe that they're posted on all of the school campuses. I'll have to ask if there's any kind of website public facing posting. I'm not certain of where that's happening, but I can find out and then direct you to that link. Did you get all of the dates and times that I passed?
No, maybe we misconnected then. You sent me an email. Oh, okay, great. Resend it. Thank you.
I will. But to your point, you know, I want to make sure that any member who's interested in attending has the opportunity to do so. So I'll look into what all of the different locations for posting.
Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.
Any other comments, questions, public comment?
Sure, members of the public, if you wish to comment on the County Office of Education update, please raise your hand now in Zoom. Okay, no hands are raised. Back to you.
Thank you. All right, we'll circle back to Behavioral Health and Recovery Services with Orneet Shoham. Orneet, are you available to give an update?
So Arnett, I've given you many permissions to be promoted. So can you please accept or unmute yourself?
Okay, so Orneet continues to be unavailable, which is fine. We appreciate that she's in attendance tonight. So we will move on to our next item, which is item number 6, which is going to be presented by our former chair and Commissioner Monroe LaFuise. Do we need to give?
Oh, yeah, please.
Okay, perfect. Welcome, Beth Monroe.
Thank you, everybody. Hello, it's good to see you. I'm glad I just got on. I thought my item might not get to until 6 or later. So I've come back to the commission because I want to tell you about something that CASA of San Mateo County is working on right now. For anyone that doesn't know, CASA stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates. CASA of San Mateo County provides mentors and advocates to children who are in the foster care system, and also in our county to children who are on probation or in the juvenile justice system. So CASA of San Mateo County is working on bringing to San Mateo County something called the Foster Youth Museum. The Foster Youth Museum is a nonprofit that runs temporary art installations in public spaces. And these art installations tell the stories of children who have been in foster care and highlight conditions and issues for kids who are in the foster care system. And actually, the Foster Youth Museum just opened an installation in, I think it's San Jose, but in Santa Clara County, just today it opened. And I believe it's going to run for a month or two. You can learn more about it at fosteryouthmuseum.org. There's information about the current installation in Santa Clara County. But in 2025, CASA is partnering with the Foster Youth Museum to bring a installation of the Foster Youth Museum to the Redwood City Library. And so that the planning for that is underway. What goes on in addition to an art installation and stories, about youth that have been in the foster care system is they have events and panels and speakers. So there are a series of educational events that go with the installation. The reason I'm coming to you now to tell you about this is because in June, towards the end of June, and you can find more information about this in the agenda packet on pages 24 and 25, I think it is. CASA is sponsoring what we're calling a pop-up art exhibit for 2 days. It's more like an art workshop for youth who are 18 and over and have been in the past in the foster care system or on probation. And this is an opportunity, particularly for youth who are artistically inclined, to participate in this workshop to produce works of art that might be included in the Foster Youth Museum installation in Redwood City in 2025. So there's an opportunity here for many youth. They don't necessarily have to be artists and artistically inclined, but there are ways for them to tell their story through objects from their life, through photographs, or through works of art. And I was hoping that anyone that is attending the commission meeting in the audience or commissioners themselves could help get the word out about this event that CASA is hosting at the end of June. And there are going to be, I think, 4 information sessions about it in May. So opportunities for youth to learn about this. And we hope to get as many youth involved as possible.
Thank you so much. This sounds like a really exciting project, and I hope that all of us can look into our contacts and the individuals that we work with and get as many people participating as possible. Thank you so much for coming back to share that wonderful news with us. Does anybody have any questions about the Lost Childhood Art Exhibit and and what will be happening coming up in Redwood City? Any questions?
Just a question. Oh, go ahead. Hi, Monroe. It's good to see you.
Hi.
I saw that in the packet that the flyer for like the potential participants was in the packet. Do you have like a flyer or anything, like a digital flyer?
Yeah. What was put into the packet is the flyer itself, but what I can do is I can send around to commissioners and anyone else that's interested, and commissioners, you can definitely distribute this as widely as you'd like. A 1-page PDF. We've got one in English and one in Spanish as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Just clarification, Monroe. Are they looking for volunteers for both events, like for the pop-up and for organizing the 2025 bigger exhibition?
Yes, thank you. Actually, maybe you looked at the flyer and realized that I left something out. There is this workshop, pop-up art activity that's happening at the end of June, and we are looking for, again, it's youth 18 and over that have been in the foster care system or in the juvenile justice system to participate in that event. There is a stipend that's offered to any youth that want to participate in that. And in addition, we are also looking for youth that would want to be part of an advisory board that I'm part of, and we have some other wonderful people that are part of. So there are opportunities also for youth to participate in the planning and development of the installation that will be at the Redwood City Library in 2025 as well.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. Any other questions? You call for public comment, please?
Sure, thank you. Members of the public, if you wish to comment on this item 6, Lost Child's Art Exhibit, please raise your hand now in Zoom. Okay, I do see one hand raised, Martha Pastorechia. I'll give you the permission to speak, so please proceed.
Hi, everybody. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, thank you for thank you, Monroe, for doing such a great presentation. I just wanted to say I'm here if there were any questions to help out to answer them. But Monroe, you did a great job. I don't think I have to add anything. I just wanted to let everybody know that I'm here. My name is Martha Bastarachea. I'm the program director at CASA.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you. I don't see any other hands raised, so back to you.
All right, great, thank you. On to our next agenda item is our new standing item that is on the agenda. This is just our way of ensuring that any items that came up at a previous meeting have been followed through and addressed. So last month we had 3 items. Commissioner Hooverly, would you like to do this portion or would you like me to do it?
You can do it.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So the first was to follow up to obtain the new policy on visiting at the juvenile hall. And we received that, and that is included in the agenda packet. The second was to meet with Chief Keene and his assistant chief to iron out the communication protocols, which happened and will be the actual communication protocols will be voted on in a later agenda item. And then the third was Project Cornerstone, and there were a few items there. I'm not sure that we've had any movement on that last item. Commissioners Bocanegra and Uhila Hauta were going to email the representative from Project Cornerstone. Has an email gone out? So I don't think there's been any movement on that. So we did take care of 2 of 3 of our action items. Do we want to call for public comment, or does anybody have any questions about those 2 items? Okay.
Any public comment on Zoom, please raise your hand on item 7. All right, no hands are raised.
Okay, and as promised, next up is the adoption of our community. Yes.
I had some questions about the communication protocol.
Yeah, that's now.
Oh, is it? Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
So next up is the action. We're going to be voting to adopt the communication protocols. Of course, input and edits are welcome. The reason why we are doing this in a public forum is because we're obligated by the Brown Act to not communicate with more than half of our membership. So the only way that we can really conduct business as a group is to do it publicly. So I did meet with Chief Keene and with the assistant chief, and we came up with the protocols that were attached in the agenda packet. And for the sake of time, I'll just assume that everyone has had an opportunity to read them and can go ahead and put forward any questions. Commissioner Blanco.
Right, so I know I wasn't able to attend via Zoom or even in person, but I did bring myself up to speed in watching the March 26th meeting then, and so I just wanted to make sure that I understood what Chief King was what his concerns were, and it seemed to appear that he wasn't being included in the communications. Was that my understanding, that the communication between commissioners and his staff where he wasn't being included? Is that my miss?
Well, I think a more accurate way to explain it would be that I think he was looking to streamline communications. He wanted to make sure that the appropriate folks were on the emails, the people that he wanted to be on the emails. In the protocol, there's only a few items where he actually wants to be included, but he's outlined who should be included. So that's all outlined here. There was also some issues. Historically, he was never included on emails, and we had direct communication, but he wanted to sort of ensure that everyone was sort of involved and informed about what was going on. And so we've outlined that here. there was also an issue of wanting to ask the commission if we could sort of organize before we approach probation with requests. I guess in the past, there had been maybe a project team and an inspection team or a subcommittee, and we're all asking for the same things. And so maybe we might be asking of 2 or 3 different people at the probation department to get that information. So two people were working on it, like, oh, I didn't know you were working on it. So this sort of outlines how we should go about it. If you're on the team or a subcommittee chair or an inspection team, how we work together to get that information so we can streamline it and get it as quick as possible. So that was the outcome of the meeting. He just wanted to ensure that sort of everybody knew what was happening. So how it's outlined here is, routine data and information. It is listed annual inspections, inspections related to quarterly meeting inspection meetings, annual inspection reports, our JJC and DJJ realignment, and basically not much has changed. We're still operating the same way. It's just we're going to be adding a few people to the emails, and we'll just be dealing with committee chairs and project leads.
So I somewhat kind of understood, but do we as a commission have our own protocols as far as contacting staff? Do we go through you, or
yes,
if we're working on a project, we go through you and it gets forwarded to?
Yes, so under the protocol, a subcommittee chair, a project team lead, or myself can make that communication. And of course, if you're working on the project, I would recommend that everybody CC the team members, as long as we're not getting into Brown Act violations, then so everyone's informed. And then we just all kind of know what everyone else is doing as well. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm protocol driven. So.
Okay, perfect.
So to make sure.
Does anyone have any other comments, questions, or modifications that they want to make? Yes.
So I noticed that Yvonne's name is misspelled.
Oh, thank you. Is it
Ivonne?
Thank you so much.
And Bustos is correct.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll make that adjustment. Yes, Commissioner Goodman.
I wonder if there's some words missing in the goal, to ensure communication between the San Mateo County Juvenile Justice Commissions and the San Mateo County Corporation, consistent, timely, responsive, and geared towards what?
Oh, I don't have that.
Clear communication, clarity.
Oh, okay. My apologies. Yes.
Something got dropped.
What we wanted to do, like I mentioned, we wanted to streamline the process, make it effective, and make sure that everybody was, was timely and that people were informed.
Efficient and effective communications.
Yes.
Something like that. Yeah,
Thank
I think
you.
it's just something got dropped.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say, I think this is such a valuable piece of work here that not just for the current status of things and to resolve any, bumps we had in communicating, but we have new commissioners coming on board all the time. And to have something clear and set in place that people can look towards and then ask questions about is just going to be so valuable for the future going forward. So I'm so glad we did this and that you took the time to meet with the chief and get clarity on all of this.
Thank you. And it was a very productive, positive meeting.
Good.
Does anybody else have any other comments? Thank you for catching that. Yes. Susan?
I was thinking it might be helpful to have the phone number and
Contact
email
information.
address
Good idea.
on this.
So I will add that and place it into the Google Drive.
Good
How does
idea.
that sound?
And then it can be updated. When
Yeah, and then it's
needs to be.
accessible to the commissioners. Okay, sounds great. Any other comments or suggestions or edits?
What's the difference on the second page between annual inspections and inspection-related quarterly meetings? Isn't it just quarterly meetings?
Well, no, because like we had one today, actually. So we're meeting quarterly now to address any inspection-related items. And so who attends that meeting is going to be different than your inspection teams and the like.
Okay.
So that's why it's separated out.
Got it.
Okay, so with those changes, those added words, the correction of Ms. Bustos' name.
I move we accept the communications protocols.
I second that.
All right. Do we need an individual vote?
No,
Okay.
before you take the roll call, let me ask for public comment.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Members of the public, if you wish to comment on the communications protocols, please raise your hand in Zoom. Okay, no hands are raised, so please proceed.
Okay, so all those in favor of approving the communication protocol as amended, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? All those abstained? Okay, it passes unanimously. Thank you. Next up is a Peer Point project update from Commissioner Amaya Nori. And I am going to share my screen. Okay, slideshow. So as many of you will remember, we had a project, Commission had a project that lasted several years.
Yeah.
Getting this project up and running. And so I'm grateful that Commissioner Amanori is going to give us an update because there was a lot of work and money that went into this really exciting program.
This
Yes.
is one of the last slides. Could you?
Okay, let's see what happened here.
Okay, yeah.
There we go.
There you go. So, yeah, so I guess maybe 1 to 2 years ago, the commission sponsored, I guess, largely part of former Commissioner Austin Willis and Melissa's work, sponsored the Peer Point program, which followed the model of the Marin County Youth Transforming Justice, there you go, which is kind of what was called like a peer court, where rather than facing like actual juvenile court, youth who committed, for Marin County, I think it was mainly like alcohol and drug related offenses, they would basically meet with the circle of their peers and form a more restorative solution to their actions. And I guess in Marin, it proved incredibly successful, and Commissioner Willis decided to implement it in San Mateo County. And I know like throughout the road, we've had a lot of struggles from funding and just getting it approved in the county. So what happened was it got basically taken over by FLY, and FLY is the main organization that runs Peer Point, along with like a legal program and a community circle at MA, which is the school that it's basically mainly run out of. If you want to go to the next slide now. So at MA, there is Peer Point, community circles, and of course, Live in Peace, which is separate than from FLY, but still is doing an immense amount of work at MA. And basically those three, I guess, different organizations and different programs work together to, I guess, hopefully we'll work together soon and try to reduce suspensions, expulsions, and just general discipline issues at MA. And I guess to give like a quick overview of what exactly Peer Point is, it's following the model of Marin County YTJ, Youth Transforming Justice, which is, instead of being a peer court like the YTJ is more oriented towards, it's more like a restorative circle where there are a few different roles. There's a peer advocate, the lead peer advocate, who basically is connected with the youth or the respondent in the beginning of the case, and they meet with them, they understand their situation, and they try and draft a kind of statement about the youth's background and about the actions and the incidents leading up to the action that the youth did, and then they present it to a circle of the youth's peers. And the basically the youth, the circle comes up with a plan for how the youth can move forward and how the respondent can move forward, how they can positively contribute to society, how they can be connected with programs and different mentorships that will allow them to get good grades and get out of the school to prison pipeline. It's a restorative approach, and it takes around 3 to 4 months, where the youth is connected with a case manager. Currently, FLY employs 2 specifically for Peer Point and the community circles. I think one of them, many of you know, Luke Namian, he mainly works at MA and has been doing a lot of tremendous work for Pierpoint and Fly. And the other one, I think, was recently hired, and they are in the process of getting a third case manager who can assist them with the workload, because at MA it's definitely a lot of work. And the entire model is like a wraparound services where the Pierpoint and Fly are attempting to get full services for the youth and connect them with basically everything that they need. And as such, they work with a lot of CBOs and different community partners to achieve that goal. If you want to go 2 slides next, because I kind of covered this. And then this is an example of the restorative plan. Academic achievement is a big thing about it. Trying to connect them with tutors or mentors who can help them with school. Civic engagement, how they can positively contribute to the community, and includes volunteer work. I guess one of the recent ones I had been connected with was someone who was really interested in football, and he became a coach, I think, or like a assistant coach for Pee Wee football, and that was really meaningful for him. And then if you want to go one more slide. So the circle process. So as I kind of talked about this, originally the peer mentor or the peer advocate and the respondent meet. They discuss the situation, and we try and encourage that the respondent be completely open, as everyone there is there for the benefit of the respondent, and just to make the respondent cover as much as they can. And yeah, you can see the different process. The circle members try to get more out of the respondent, ask them questions, find different interests and strengths that they can apply to the civic engagement work, or whether they be mentoring or can be a mentor for other youth who need help. And yeah, so next we can get into sort of the data as now, before Pierpoint, or the implementation of Pierpoint, which was first ran, I believe the first case was April of last year. So in the 2022 to 2023 school year, April of 2023 was the first case, so exactly around a year ago. And you can see that obviously there's a pretty major dip from COVID, but even before that, with the 2017 and 2018 school years, the number of suspensions, especially the number of students with more than one suspension, was extremely high, and it's definitely started to dip down, possibly due to COVID. But again, with the 2022 to 2023 school year, there's obviously a dip there, and a big part of that can definitely be attributed to the different programs at MA, like Live in Peace and Fly. And then on the right, you see the racial breakdown of the suspensions before Pierpoint. So I guess finally with the post Pierpoint. So the data I got wasn't exactly the most, I guess it wasn't completely, it wasn't complete, I guess. But from what I saw, I guess the 2 big takeaways that I could see from the data was that, one, overall suspensions were down a lot. We are about 2 months away from the end of the school year, and having only 43 suspensions compared to about over 100, and I think in the last year 75 is impressive, and just talks a lot about how much the work that the different CBOs at MA is paying off.
Sorry, Amaya, what does that mean, 43/270?
So it's so basically referrals are referrals to the AVP office, or the vice principal's office, and the number on the right, so 28 out of 37, 28 of the cases referred to the administrative vice principals resulted in a suspension, and the remaining, I don't know, what is that, 9 or resulted in something other than a suspension.
Like diversion.
Yeah, like diversion, yeah, there you go.
Amaya, can you explain what some non-EC referrals are?
Yeah, so this would be something like an academic integrity violation, or something that isn't academic integrity might be defined by the Ed Code, but something that isn't an Ed Code violation. So I think there's like a few main ones. The harassment and intimidation, I don't think that's, or actually I can tell you the exact ones that probably are. So it's the possession, use, sale, or of a controlled substance, alcohol, or intoxication, I guess. That was one that definitely dropped a lot from the, I guess, what we can call diversion. The disruption and defiance, that might have been just due to new legislation or just how they're handling it with, I guess, yeah, new legislation.
All right, I'm confused. What are we comparing these numbers to? You have numbers in mind? Because these are the numbers.
These are the numbers for the 2024 or 2023 to 24 school year, sorry.
Okay, and you have the numbers of what they were before?
I don't, but this is just like a breakdown to know like what the main causes of suspension are.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll try and get more.
Don't really have data.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah,
okay.
But yeah, I'll try and get more data and then still present.
These are the types of things that could be referred to the peer point.
Yeah. I mean, not all of them. I'd say I don't think there's actually the firearm isn't on there, but I think mainly a few ones. I think harassment and intimidation, caused, attempted, or threatened physical injury. That's for fights, and I think the main part of what PeerPoint deals with is fights at MA because those happen pretty often. And I think a big thing from this year is that while like MA administration hasn't completely agreed to like stop suspending youth in every case where it's referred to PeerPoint, that's one of the big goals for next year. But I think a big thing of this is like the recidivism, as I think it's definitely decreased based on the PeerPoint and the community circles, because with having the CBOs there is definitely very beneficial for the youth, I guess, future, and it definitely will stop them from committing like further actions or getting to future fights. So
it's like intervention.
Yeah.
And Maya, are you still on the leadership team of PeerPoint?
Yeah. Kate, if you want to talk a bit more about the total number, because you might have that a bit more anecdotal data.
Hi, everybody. So for context, Kate Easter, formerly of Fly, but no longer with Fly. So my data is a little bit out of date. I have been at Fly for like 6 weeks now. And also for context, I'm here as part of the National Center for Youth Law in Nickel, working on a project with them. So you may be hearing from me more. So community circles are part of PeerPoint. So it's a weekly gathering where it's young people who are not necessarily looking at suspension. There's not a single incident, but the administration has identified as they're concerned about them. And so those community circles happen every week, and those youth get trained in the restorative process. They do community building. Thank you so much. And then they are then ready to sit in circle as peer advocates when there is an incident. So that's part of the reason that we have those, those regular weekly community circles. And so I believe over the past year, probably 150 youth have gone through those community circles. And they're usually part of it for a semester. At one point, we're running 2 at a time, but backed off of that. But yeah, so about 150 youth have been trained to be able to sit in community circles. And then as far as I know, there have probably been, again, it could have changed, but I know that there are at least 7 youth that were currently working on diversion plans when I was exiting. And then the last piece I will also add, I know that MA specifically, Fly's been working on an agreement with South San Francisco Police Department to be able to do diversion from arrest, which was the goal. But getting the MOU and getting to agreement about exactly how that works has been a challenge. And so they're working on it, trying. But that's the hope, is that they can get to the point of being able to do the same work, but at the point of arrest and not just at the point of suspension.
That's wonderful. It sounds like we're really covering our areas, right? Our cities where we have most of the issues, because MA covers East Palo Alto and Redwood City, and then we've got South San Francisco. So we're really covering our top 5 cities.
Yeah, and the goal was to pilot with one police department, but then have an MOU that can be, you know, replicated to other cities. So everyone just keeps their fingers crossed.
We'd definitely still love to expand to further different school districts across the county.
And future funding also is contingent on expanding the program and showing that it can be rolled out across the county. I think that the bulk of the funding was contingent on proving that through the pilot program.
Yes, and so yes.
Can you repeat what organization you're with now, please?
So I'm now with the National Center for Youth Law. It's actually called NICL. And so, yeah, I'm just working on a project, a short-term project with them around coalition building.
Is that based in Oakland?
Yeah, the one based on.
Do you work with Ananda Gideon?
I know her.
Okay,
Yeah. I mostly work with Daria Larsone.
Okay, yeah.
Last name, but yes. So you'll probably be hearing from me. But yeah, moving on. Staying on subject. I know I'm just.
Commissioner Norris, the bunch.
Yeah, I mean, any other questions?
Anybody have any?
I think a big part of it is there's definitely still more data that needs to be analyzed and more data that we need to get access to.
Yeah.
But just from like this initial snapshot, I guess you could call it, it's looking really positive.
So you've handled like 70 cases?
I would not say 70 cases.
I thought I heard.
I think it was 7. There were 7 youth at the time who were in the program, participating in the program. It's a 3 to 4 month, I guess, long participation window. I would say maybe 30. Does that sound in the ballpark?
25 to 30.
Yeah, 25 to 30 in the first year, which was what we expected. I think it was about in the 30s. So what was the range that we expected?
Are you keeping track of whether or not they are sent to the office or likely to be suspended again?
So I mean, I don't think we've had any I don't think we've had any youth, I guess, did another. Yeah, I don't think so, because we would most likely hear from them.
That data for getting more funding.
A lot of that data comes from the school, though, and they will probably give us the data at the end of like a school year. So like it being right now in the middle of the school year, it's hard to gauge exactly where, but.
We certainly appreciate the update. A lot of hard work went into it, and I know many of us have been wondering what's the status. So thank you for volunteering to bring this forward. Yeah, yes.
If I may, I want to understand this slide a bit more.
Yeah.
So on the side, we have what, like 40 some students, or I guess the ratio breakdown.
Yeah, that's the ratio breakdown. Yeah.
And the 277 referrals, were they committed by 40 something students? Or
No. So 43 students out of the 277 referrals. So anytime a teacher like sends a student to the office, I guess you could say, that's kind of like a referral. And out of those 277 cases where there was a referral to the office, only 43 resulted in a suspension. And the breakdown of the 43 is on the left.
There we go. Okay. Commissioner Bocanegra?
Yes, I think Jennifer had her hand up first. Thank you. So I have a question. Have you presented this nice model, this beautiful model, to the district attorney's office? Because I think he has a representative here. And I see that you deal with physical injury. And so there's been public hearings where youth are being charged for crimes like assaults. For still not having learned how to resolve conflict without their hands and feet. This would be a great model to present to the district attorney's office, I believe, that would possibly create a venue to avoid having to charge these kids every time there's a tussle with some sort of assault. And we have a different model in our communities where not every tussle is a crime, right? It's that happens at times. So maybe
in the original Peerpoint presentations, it was broadly communicated across the county, because if you remember, we were looking for the county to actually fund the program. And so they did all hear about it.
Yeah, we did present it originally to DA Wagstaff, but I think since the changed model where we've like only focused on MA, and like since the 1 year mark, I guess, we haven't really presented it to anybody outside of MA, I guess, outside of.
The goal though, from the pilot, is to accumulate the data.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
be able to articulate a reason.
Yeah, yeah.
A reason to fund and to have a program like this based on the data. So I think it's maybe coming to the point where there'll be a more compelling picture to present after this. And I'm guessing that with Fly, there were mechanisms in place to capture the data because of the reporting relationship with the funders, and that data will be.
So I think one of the things when we originally met with MA admin, one of their concerns was like equity and like, because for the actual like data to be collected and for like a, I guess, study to be done, there needed to be like a one youth was entered into the program, one youth wasn't entered into the program. And to MA admin, that brought up an equity issue. So I think that kind of did like stall like our involvement with, what was the Stanford? Oh, DART, yeah, there you go, Gardner Center, yeah.
Wait, hold on, I have a question.
Yeah.
So well, let me understand this correctly. So the whole purpose of this is because we have this problem.
Yeah.
And it's not validated until you can compare one youth that becomes invested in the program or referred to the program and one youth not. We've already had the ones not because there hasn't been those programs.
Yeah.
So that's the whole purpose. The model is there. And what I'm saying is, I really enjoy seeing the data that you presented today, especially with the 30 Hispanics, because that's what our YSC looks like. And if you have these results here, I believe that you can possibly duplicate that in the place where it's needed, like in our YSC, right?
Yeah. I think that's definitely the goal, but I think that takes time to see, like, to gather more data, and yeah, of course, money to continue the program.
Just to be clear, this is not showing us anything. This
is just a breakdown to like the 43 was really the big number from this entire slide, but it was more helpful, I guess, to see the different ed code violations that led to suspensions. Was I think definitely should.
Yeah, what's going on in MA right now?
What we hope to have at some point is an indication of this number, and after a year of the program running, a lower number.
For sure, yeah.
So the number already is lower than last year.
Yeah.
As she said at the beginning. So there were 70, I think there were 88 suspensions last year.
So that is a data point.
Last school year there were something.
Yeah, it was in the 70s to 80s.
Okay, so
and now there are only 40. As of now, there are
this one.
Yeah. So that is a data point.
Yeah, if you want to go back one slide, that.
Go, Suki, go back.
That's great.
I've got it.
Okay, this is.
One or two things about it.
So the 2023 to 2020, sorry, 2022 to 2023 school year, that was where half the school year. So from April onwards, we started doing it. But so that's kind of not the greatest data point to compare to, but I think like the 43 from this year. Yeah. The 43 from this year compared to pre-COVID with the 2018, 19 and 2017, 2018 school years, I think those are pretty good comparison points.
Well, it's nice to see that the number of suspensions are going down, because we all know that kids need to be in school.
Yeah, for sure.
Any other, Commissioner Blanco?
Yes, I have a couple of I was waiting for my turn, so I decided to write them down. So, Amaya, so do you guys happen to know, since we're doing those circles, what's causing the fights there? And is it not only what's causing the fights, but who are the groups? Is it Latino against Latinos? Or is it the Caucasian students against Latinos, or what is it?
I can only really speak anecdotally. I don't know if you might have better knowledge about that.
We have in our district we have a high gang initiation coming in, and so there's that right now. There's also money issues. So probably half the fight to him, which you would know would be they're playing dice. You owe money. You don't show up the next day, we get it at the bus stop. You know, it's little stuff like that. So, and then it just turns into something extra. Or if you're losing a fight, now 3 people jump in. That's why you see 4 people. So there's more of that. It's 90% of it's really small.
Girls
Yeah.
Girls with me.
Oh, there was a big one this year.
Yeah.
Really good
so is it Latinos versus?
It's not a
racial.
population thing. So if you see the breakdown of MA, the little area where the basketball and the soccer field is where all minorities hang out. And then everybody else hangs out. And then there's one area where they do the gambling. So 90% it happens in that area. And some of it, they're playing basketball. Oh, you keep fouling them, you got one more time. And then all of a sudden it's going down and then somebody else runs off. So 90% is really small. There's maybe, I could say, not this year, but last year, there may have been 5 that were associated to robberies. Like this dude robbed this dude after school, so they got it the next day. But 90% of it's just little dumb stuff. I used to date her, now she's talking to him, so there's that. So there's really, it's not a racial breakdown like blacks against Mexicans or polys against, yeah.
So the other question I had is, so in regards to the training spear, right, the training, so how many sessions does it take for a student to get trained in them?
I think it was so it was like 4, and I think it was 4, and then we also offered like incentives like gift cards if they showed up, which I think was definitely brought a lot of
Another question? Yes, and then Karen, you mentioned that the county, something about the county to fund the program, so.
That's the original idea.
Okay, so was the original idea to have the county fund it, to have it at all of our 23 school districts?
Well, it was proposed as a pilot project so that it was never going to be like at all of the schools to start, but ideally, this arose out of a need to have access across the county. And so that one youth who is in trouble in one area of the county wouldn't be, have a diversion program available that another youth, because the diversion programs are not equally accessible across the county. So yes, the idea was if the county would fund it, then we'd start it as a pilot and it would be rolled out across the county through police departments and schools. Ultimately, the county wasn't unsupportive, but they also pointed to this as a municipal obligation, so that the cities would provide diversion program, would be responsible for funding their own diversion, that you can't kind of mix the jurisdictions. So county funds county, city funds city. So there was that, and that schools are responsible for themselves, and schools have no budget for this. So that's where the funding ended up in terms of the county responding to us. And that's when we resorted to grants, and we also ended up getting $500,000 from the Gilead Foundation from their health equity fund. So if this is successful, there's still the question of where will future funding come from?
Right, and how much is this program? Like, let's say for Sequoia School District, right? So how much is that program? How much does that cost? Do we know?
Yeah, it's tricky.
Okay.
So because again, it's when I add this, it's a question of scale. So with the current staffing, it's about $250,000 a year. But it can scale up somewhat, but not a ton more. We would need to hire more staff. They would need to hire. Sorry, I still can't. 5 years is a long time.
Well, the reason why I'm asking is because I know I can only speak for my district myself, where we've spent just crazy thousands of dollars on programs that really don't work. And in regards to circles and doing restorative justice practices, some school districts, I mean, we really don't have that secret sauce. Sometimes they really don't know how to roll those programs out to where it's effective. So it's really a waste of money. And also, it also does matter of who it is that we're going to be partnering with, paying this amount of money, because actually some school districts do have money. It just depends on the priorities that they set in order to spend those dollars. So it's a juggling act, right? But so that's why I'm asking these questions, because if, let's say, a school district really wants to invest in this program, if they'll pay the $250,000 because they make it a priority. So
if this pilot program can show effectiveness,
right,
and have it's data-based, and they've developed, they've gone through the growing pains of understanding what works and what doesn't work, and how it actually can be rolled out, and with the administration's support, that could be super compelling for a school district.
And the idea behind this, there are 4 diversion programs in the county. Probation has one, the sheriff's department has one, Redwood City has one, and the city of San Mateo has one. But in all of those, the child has to have been arrested. So the idea in going to the schools and working with youth who are in danger of suspension or expulsion is
breaking that pipeline.
Breaking
Right,
that
it's an
pipeline so they
intervention.
never do get arrested.
It's an
That's the
intervention,
whole idea.
and so intervention actually costs less, right? Actually, no, prevention costs less. We're talking about prevention, not intervention. Sorry, I had it backwards. Yeah, prevention costs less. So, no, those were my questions. Thank you. Go ahead.
This is preventing entry into
Right.
a very expensive carceral system.
Right.
To me, the moral argument is even greater when you look at the jurisdictions that don't offer diversion, that certain communities are feeding their children into the probation department and where they have a record to be sealed. And I think there's really good research that says that any contact with probation and juvenile justice detention facilities and all of that, the world of the court, has a negative impact on your likelihood of not ending up incarcerated. So, the dream would be that these police departments that currently refer to probation might have their own program run through PeerPoint to avail to those youth, so that the youth never develop a record that has to be sealed for when the crime's appropriate.
So that was my question.
Okay, thank you.
So just to add, so I didn't hear one in the DA's office, and they are the ones that check the boxes and make the determination. So I think that would be a great place, because I don't believe the DA's office, its intention is to charge and charge and charge every youth with a crime. There has to be a case-by-case basis, and this would be a great starting point to have a diversion program to say, hey, you know what? Billy has gotten into a couple of tussles on the schoolyard. Before we charge him, we'd like PeerPoint to work with him for a while. And just the data, again, I think that it shows that you have some success. And we need any type of that alternative success rather than the punitive part that we continue to go down. So good job.
Thank you. Any other questions before we call for public comment? Okay, maybe call for public comment.
All right, members of the public, if you wish to comment on this item, PeerPoint project update, please raise your hand in Zoom now. Or anybody from this location. Yeah, Melissa Wilson.
I'd just like to make the suggestion that we invite Fly proper, especially with leadership changes, etc. Maya did a great job, but we really should be asking Fly these questions, and specifically like better data would be one focus. So that's my suggestion.
Yeah, I think one of the issues, Luke had tried to attend the meeting, who's like the main program manager of PeerPoint, but I think he has a conflict at exactly between time, so it's hard to.
Thank you for bringing that forward. Okay, so no public comment, so we will be moving on to our next item, which is the DJJ realignment subcommittee meeting that I attended. So today, I believe, is the day that San Mateo County will submit their 2024 Juvenile Justice Realignment Block Grant that deals with our secure track youth, or SOAR youth. And this was my first opportunity to be part of the process. Being that my name was going into this report, I wanted to vet all these programs, and I spoke with the kids and their families, and they are in here. These programs are in existence. They're at the hall, and for that, I am very, very grateful. So I believe the plan is submitted today. The deadline is tomorrow. Ron and I were part of this process. We both included in the agenda packet. You'll see some of the comments that we brought forward. Some of the things that I brought forward was I was interested in a credible messenger program. I was also interested in animal therapy. I know we have the chicken coop, but I would love to see if we could add like a therapy dog into our behavioral health services up there. There's also some extensive data that's important, but I feel this plan was approved by the subcommittee, and I feel confident that what it contains has the potential to really make a change for our secure track youth. So it is an extensive document, it's 42 pages long. So I will just go ahead and open it up to any questions that anyone may have.
What is the Credible Messenger program?
So Credible Messenger program, it's sort of like, they have it in San Francisco, they have it in Santa Clara. And a Credible Messenger is someone who has a life experience that's similar to those kids at the hall. So Paul, for instance, is a credible messenger. When Paul goes in, he tells his story, shares his experience, and connects and mentors with the kids. So Success Center runs the Credible Messenger program in San Francisco. They actually staff 2 people full-time. San Francisco has 2 secure track units, and they staff each unit with 2 full-time credible messengers, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. And they are just present in the units to be there whenever the youth may want to engage, talk, mentor, help with homework, whatever it is. And they make, really significant bonds. And this is something that we're seeing pop up in this space sort of all over the state, the value of these programs. And I know that was something that Ron also was interested in bringing forward as well. Any other questions on the plan? I think it's the best plan we put forward.
So sorry, Johanna, is there a proposal to include the Credible Messenger, like a budget for Credible Messenger for these services?
I know that it is not in this plan, although the chief has indicated that, am I speaking correctly, Ron, that the chief has indicated that they're open to exploring this? How would you phrase it, Ron?
So it's noted in there that
Yeah.
it's something they can explore, but as far as funding, the funding comes from the realignment. So there's a lot of funding that's coming to the county over a period of 3 years. And then going forward for each youth in secure track, they will have a certain amount of funding associated with each youth. So it's a little different funding from the regular population of when I see it. That's my understanding of how that works. So there will be a different stream of funding for those programs if we get a target secure track.
And this plan is updated annually. And so this is something that we put into the record that we feel is valuable and that we want to see going forward. So it is our hope that it will be in the next plan. At least we'll certainly be advocating for that.
Or it's coming from a different pot, so.
I mean, I don't know the inner working of how it's gonna work out from the probation, so I'm not speaking for them. I'm just speaking what the law is on secure track and how the funding for that is. I mean, the first 3 years was specific funding that was set out for each county. Our county got the allocated funding, and then going forward would be associated with how many youth we have in secure track.
And we have few.
Well, no,
It's going up as.
but then, it wouldn't be based on how,
It will be based on the number of youth? Or-
yes, how many, each, so I don't know exactly the number, but I believe it was like 225,000 or something like that. Or, I don't want to, I shouldn't say. There's a certain amount of dollars that will be allocated for secure track because of the realignment.
I noticed that there looks like there's a case manager in each section. Are they gonna have multiple case managers, or will there be one person who coordinates it all?
Well, I think it depends. If you can see, like, this is the mental health section, so there'll be a case manager for managing their mental health services.
And then there's a case manager for social services.
Right, so that would, so in that case, that would be someone who may be transitioning out or maybe foster youth. So it includes many different populations. And so a youth who may qualify to have a case manager for mental health services may not necessarily be a foster youth with a case manager.
I just hope there's a way of making sure that if there are multiple case managers, that they're coordinating with each other.
I think that is the intention, and I think that, being that this is all relatively new, I think everything is in the last few years, it's been about putting things in place, and now we have them in place, and I think this will be the year where we'll see how things are actually going to work. Because a lot of this has been, our vision for things, how we hope it'll be, but now we actually have something in place that we can actually measure this time next year to see if it's doing what it was intended to do.
Sure.
Yes, yes.
So I was looking at the youthful offender block grant and juvenile hall improvement funding.
Yes.
Specifically the last two, Paxton Peterson and the Origin American Prison Data Systems, PBC. So page 20.
Okay, thank you.
So I was curious, have these programs been implemented? I know the tablets was something that it was planning to be implemented. I haven't been in the hall since last year, so I'm not really sure. I assume that you received the tablets? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, they have.
And then the Paxton Peterson, I heard about this and I thought it was really meaningful and probably definitely going to be successful. Is that currently happening right now?
We're all set up, ready to go, and we're going to be partnering hopefully with the school side to get that going for the summertime.
Okay, thank you.
And also to give you guys an update, I am looking into a dog therapy program.
Oh, good.
And we're kind of in the works with that. Like we discussed, there's a process and but that is something that I'm definitely trying to implement for the kids.
It's wonderful. So things are really getting put into place.
So is this only available for the secure youth? Because it seems to me a lot of this should be available to any youth that's going to be in the hall for any length
This
of time.
specific subcommittee, because this is based on the DJJ realignment. So this subcommittee exists to say, how are we going to deal with, what DJJ used to take care of basically. So that's why it's all geared towards those, because that's where the state is assisting us in setting our things up for that population of youth, which by this time next year may have doubled from the beginning of the year. So the court process takes some time to get into. So I would imagine our numbers to be going up through the rest of the year. Anyway, any other questions? Yes.
I was just wondering why, or if you knew why the etiquette program is no longer being offered and why it's not like a part of the future.
Well, it was actually listed in here as being offered, and I was the one who said, wait, I haven't heard about that. But I don't think I just think that whoever was doing it pre-COVID, it hasn't been there as far as I know since I've been on the commission. So I think there used to be someone who did it. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of providers at COVID and they didn't make it back. But I agree, I think that's important. Everybody, that helps you in the world, right? When you are invited to a nice dinner, you want to know what worked to you. I mean, it matters. It seems simple, but it's important.
And a lot of employers take you out to lunch to see how you behave.
And there is a comment that, they want to bring it back. It's just a matter of finding that. And parenting classes was another thing that's important. So many of our youth.
Was it Rosalind Randall?
I don't know, it was before my time.
And we have youth who are parents and, and when we have intergenerational trauma, we need to intervene and we need to teach new ways of doing things. So, any other questions? So this plan, once it's submitted and OICR accepts it, then it'll go up on the website, but being that I'm the representative from the commission, I wanted to bring it forward. It's going to be submitted. You'll see it all says draft, so there'll be a formal, but it was approved. And so do we want to take public comment for that?
Members of the public, if you wish to comment on this item 10, please raise your hand in Zoom. Or here. Okay, we do have one speaker.
So I'm just speaking as a member of the public, not on behalf of anybody, but two things. So one, the funding, there was legal clarification that the funding does not have to only be limited. So yes, the plan is for youth in secure track, but they are able to use the funding to provide services to other youth as well. It is not only, that was actually a big question that we had for a long time. So those services can be made available to other youth in the hall. And then the other piece is just something I'm always going to bang the drum about. The plan continues not to have any sort of step down plan.
Yes, yes.
And that is actually a requirement that as youth are returning, the least restrictive environment, right? The least restrictive safe environment. And at this point, there still is no plan for what that might look like. And I know that the response is always like, we've got so few, or we're figuring it out as we go, we're gonna do case by case, but just encourage everybody to continue to focus on that, to have other options for stepping down. So.
Thank you for that. And we're actually up on the agenda, the next two items is about OYCR's list of, yes, Ron.
Just to the point that was made, that if you review the plan itself and the comments, there's a big section about the less restrictive alternatives, and then the need that we need to develop that. And then I think you suggested Pine Grove as an option to be considered as one of the alternatives in addition to other programs that could be viable options.
Thank you, thank you. It's difficult for me to always remember everything, so I appreciate that. And that's a huge one. That's a huge piece that we do not have. And so thank you very much for that. Okay, so yes.
Kind of one question. Was there a definitive answer on whether youth who aren't in secure track or SOAR, but are still serving, like, I guess, 6 month to 1 year terms, are they able to participate in the programming? Like
Kate said, and I would imagine by the long, we tend to label it as a long-term unit, like a Pine 4 unit. So it's nice to hear that no one will be excluded, like, okay, you can't participate. Everybody there will be, and for the most part, and correct me if I'm wrong, kids are pretty much classified either by age or their length of stay. If they're going to be there a long time, they move over to the Pine 4 unit where they have more opportunities to do different programming.
And the majority of the programs that we offer are offered to most youth. So it's not just the 4 that we have on secure track.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Yes.
I have a question. So it could be either maybe you, Kate, representing FLY, kind of by association, I guess, and maybe our staff here for probation. It says here on page, I think it's 58, it mentions about social emotional learning, and I'm just wondering in regards to evidence-based practices, what program exactly are we using? Do we know which program that is or will be?
Well, I don't have the.
Yeah, I think
that in the school.
No, it's here and on page 58.
I don't have a 58.
Of the plan itself.
Of the plan, yeah. It's okay, no one can get back to me now. I can
27
pages.
I'm sorry, they go ahead? I guess I went ahead.
Okay, thank you. I think maybe you're referring to the full agenda packet.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay, that's okay.
Oh, right. Am I going ahead?
So, you're speaking about, oh, okay. So that's for FLY. That's a FLY program.
Well, yeah, that's actually, I think that's the next topic is the,
No,
no, we're talking about the block grant.
Yeah. So that's a program that's offered by FLY. So I would.
Right, that's able to speak. I'm wondering if that's, do we have a name of the program? Because there's so many.
It's built into the programs that are, so all of FLY's programs, there are assessments at the beginning and end of program on key social emotional learning skills, and then it's built into the actual, so it's not a separate program, it is built into FLY's program, so there's a pre and post, and then very intentional, and there are 4 areas, at least I can remember them, self-awareness, social awareness, critical thinking, and self-advocacy are the 4 that are assessed at the beginning.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next update is going to be on the Reimagined Juvenile Hall meeting. Paul and I, Commissioner Bocanegra and I serve on that. And so we recently attended that meeting, and it was my first meeting. So I'll defer to Paul if he wants to give a report out, and then I'll supplement.
Sure. So I think we all attended, and we are towards the end of it. And I think the highlight of the Reimagine Hall update, the whole purpose of this committee being, coming together at the, with the guidance of our leadership in the county was to, the exact words of the late Board of Supervisor here, Horsley, was soften the environment, which he said, step down basically. And that is something that we are still not at. It's a major component that is missing from our rehabilitative system that we say we have. I just believe that it does not serve the public interest to have a youth being incarcerated, remaining in that state until he's released with no step down, right? And it just points to classical conditioning. Ivan Pavlov, the little black dog that waited for the bell to ring before he was fed. Well, in this case, that little black dog are our youth. And we can't depend on them to have a bell to ring when they get out. And so the structured environment that is provided there, they are definitely working on providing more services that help rehabilitation, but without that environment, having the texture, the feeling of different type of textures, leaves, trees, we have it at a minimal level there, but we don't have the freedom to move about the institution. And CYA, where I served time at, people, or youth in this case, convicted of murder, had the ability to move around freely in the institution. They would leave the institution. There's step downs. They understood the impact that would have on a youth's prefrontal cortex before reintegrating into our public communities and our institutions. We lack that. We lack that here in San Mateo County. And our neighbors have these programs like Santa Clara County. It's just we don't have that willingness to invest, right? Like every time that this has come up, it's always a money issue, an investment issue. And so we can't keep investing in bringing Walmart to San Mateo County, right? And not take care of our next generation that's coming up that don't have that ability. And so that's the highlight, I think, that we are missing, the component that we are missing here in the entire criminal justice system, juvenile criminal justice system, is that they don't have a transitioning program. And that means public safety is not being served at its best with the monies that is being invested in the entire juvenile criminal justice system. So when we speak of money, that should not be spoken on the lives and the futures of our youth, as well as the community. I think the community is worth that investment. It is the community's investment in itself. And I just think there needs to be more productivity and engagement on that reintegration and step down component that we have been lacking since day one. So.
Thank you. And for those new commissioners and for members of the public who aren't familiar, this committee actually was the result of the commission. The commission had a project, met with elected officials throughout the county, worked with the Board of Supervisors to draft a resolution. A committee with all partners was created, and there's been these meetings going forward on how we might soften the juvenile hall. So while we are thrilled with the new programs and things that are happening, programs and the like were never part of the original proposal. It was always about the environment. And so so that was our most recent update. Does anyone have any questions?
I just had a question. So we had a list of improvements that were going to be made to the hall, right?
We did.
And have those all been made, or are we still progressing through them?
At our last meeting, if I remember correctly, the chief said, we didn't have any documents, but he did say that he would be providing some. So hopefully that will be included at our next meeting, so we can actually see. I know we had some asks, I know we had some things that were being considered, but
Like
actual
cubbies for the actual
implementation.
rooms and, you know, like there were physical changes that were
Right,
being.
I know that, the shelving is in the procurement process.
Oh, I see, okay.
So that's happening. Some things take longer than others just because the way the county sets up their systems. But yes, I agree. I would imagine, he did say that he'd be providing that information, right? Oh, because we didn't have anything to go over in our agenda packet.
I think some of the issues that,
That is, okay, so that's.
I think one of the issues was that the YSC wasn't paid for yet, so we couldn't modify it. And so investing, I think there was discussion on the Board of Supervisor about, up there in, what was the
Camp
name?
Glenwood?
Camp Glenwood, that fell through, and then there was the closure, the decarceration of young girls, and we saw that as being hopeful for the step down component that's missing, and we're still not there yet. I just think that we spent $152 million on 180 cage-like places that we put youth to become rehabilitated. We have to at least be willing to spend half of that for a step-down program. I think the community is deserving of it. We know that it serves its purpose, and we need to get there. I think we need to urge our leadership. I don't know what else we can do as a commission to really ask our leadership to invest in the step-down program. It's needed. It's law. We're just asking that they follow the law. Put your money where the law says to put it.
Can we do something similar as we did with the Reimagine, where we try and form a committee, or?
We could, I guess we'll wait until see, do we have one more meeting or?
I'm not sure. I can't like tell you exactly how many meetings we have left, but we are coming to an end, and the environment has not been softened. We are in a place where the reason for the 3 strikes, Richard Allen Davis, who is on death row, has more access to programs, services, material items than our kids in juvenile hall, who many are not even convicted of, are not even convicted yet. Excuse me?
How do you know that's true?
Because I was in prison. I was.
You don't know what's available to Richard Allen Davies?
I was in Carson section next to death row. I lived in those cages right next to them. What are you talking about that I don't know what's available to them? They also have drugs. They also have cell phones. They also have pornography. There's plenty of other things.
Contraband.
Exactly. They have that as well.
Okay, do we want to take public comment on the Reimagined Juvenile Hall update?
Sure. Members of the public, if you wish to comment on this item regarding 11, Reimagined Juvenile Hall, please raise your hand in Zoom or in conference room. All right, no hands are raised.
All right, the next item is Commissioner Grieve is our OICR liaison. And so he provided us a list of the least restrictive placements. Again, we're talking about step down programs, and OICR issued the list for all the counties in California and the list of their least restrictive environments, and San Mateo County was not on the list. So I just wanted, that was included in the agenda packet. I don't know that there's much discussion. He's not here, but I wanted to bring that forward because it was timely. Does anyone have any comments before we call for public comment?
Madam Chair, I do. Can you explain a little bit on why we don't, our county does not? No.
We don't have, I mean, like we just said, we don't have anything to list. So that's.
But who can answer that question on why we don't?
I think that would probably be best a question for the chief at maybe a future meeting.
Oh, is it? Okay, all right.
Maybe even the Board of Supervisors.
Yeah.
Ooh, good.
I think,
Yeah,
yes,
point.
I would agree with that.
Public comment.
Sure. Any public comment on this item, item 12, OYCR item? Okay, I don't see any hands raised.
Thank you so much. So before we adjourn, we just had a couple announcements to make. They are, the BSCC is in the process of updating both Title 15 and Title 24. This is really significant because we've had major law changes in the last few years. And so they are revising these major regulations to reflect those changes in the law.
Can you expand on what Title 16 title?
Melissa, would you, Melissa's the most well-versed on Title 15 and 24. Would you give us a snapshot of what?
Title 15 is?
Well, just what it covers.
So Title 15 juvenile is minimum standards for juvenile facilities. And it describes what the Board of State and Community Corrections will evaluate facilities on. Those are minimum standards. I was looking at it when you asked me that question.
Well, you're the expert.
Title 24 describes the physical design of facilities. So there is some overlap of those two things, but one is more architectural and the other is policy and practice. And all of the admin policy manuals do and should line up with Title 15.
Thank you. So there's going to be a series of meetings. We actually had one yesterday. There's going to be a series of meetings taking place. The information is in the packet. This will be something that once it's finished, we'll be presenting here so everybody's up to date on what's happening. This is a significant piece. The other thing I wanted to mention is that the Youth Law Center is going to be having an online event on May 8th. And the title is Advocacy, Justice, and Hope, celebrating the first 45 years of the Youth Law Center. So if you are available on Zoom, the information on how to attend online is here.
Isn't that in September? The celebration? The voting rights one is in May.
Oh, I apologize. I have it listed on the front here.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay, yes. So there's actually going to be two. There's
Right.
going to be one in September, and there's going to be Elevating the Voting Rights of Youth, which is on May 8th. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and that's to ensure access to voting by all youth who are in detention.
Yes.
Which apparently is an issue.
Yes.
So there's going to be this webinar, and one of the JJDPC people from Alameda is the speaker.
Oh,
which I thought was
wonderful.
Interesting.
That's
Yes.
great. Does anybody else have any announcements? Yes.
I do, then I have a question after. So I want to start first with the Executive Director of Peninsula Service Agency. He texted me letting me know that he tried to raise his hand, but I don't know what happened, it didn't work, but I wanted to make the announcement for him. So there's only 9 seats available, so if we want to go, only 9 is available. So his name is Charles Hansen, and he's new to our county, and he's the new Executive Director for Peninsula Family Service. And the title is Building a Brighter Future, Community Symposium Against the Preschool to Prison Pipeline. And it's on May 17th from 9:30 to 1:30 at CZI's community space. And there will be a light breakfast and lunch will be served. And thank you, he put the flyer up for me. I appreciate it.
And I think
got to ask.
our former commissioner is going to be speaking at that event.
Oh, are you, Melissa?
Just on a panel.
Okay,
Wonderful.
okay, all right. Well, Charles tried to log on, but he couldn't, he said, so I just let him know I was gonna make the announcement. So there's only 9, this filled up really, I just learned about this on Saturday, so
Okay.
I wanted to share it with you all and see if you guys are interested. And then I also wanted to share that tomorrow, if anyone is interested in coming with me to Stockton, I'm going to be attending San Joaquin County Office of Ed. They're doing their 5th annual Foster Youth Education Summit. And so it is sold out, but one of my colleagues from South San Francisco Unified School District can't go. So there is that seat available. It's from 8 to 3:30. Anyone would like to go, let me know. That's where I'll be tomorrow. And then I also had a question regarding possible next steps. I don't know if there's anything I'd like to ask about. What does the commission think about? So May is National Youth Foster Care Youth Awareness Month, and I'd be interested in working on putting together some sort of resolution to honor the month. And also May is also AAPI month and Civil Heritage Month. So I was wondering if this is something that the commission would be interested in moving forward with creating a resolution.
I don't know that we can take that because it's not on the agenda. Is that, how do we do that?
Right, so, you can talk about it, but you cannot act on it.
Right.
But for the next agenda, if you wanna put that on there, you can.
Yes, and that's something to be.
So my question is,
Yeah.
so with agenda items, am I able to create the document, send it to the chair, and then she can put it on the agenda?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Every month I send out an email asking, it's about 2 weeks before the meeting, or 10 days before the meeting. Does anyone have any items?
Right, and I will do that. I just didn't have the time to create the resolution for this.
Thank you so much. I'm always mindful of time. It's 7:13. I want to remind everybody that inspection signups have been out for more than a month, and I need folks to sign up as soon as possible. And I also need some consensus on what month we're going to be holding our annual retreat. I think, did we hold it in September last year?
I think so, yeah.
So does September work for everyone? Is that a good month to start planning our retreat?
Maybe you can give us some dates.
Right, so we just,
Yeah.
so it's a process, so just put it on your radar that we've set it up, we'll pick a date in September, it's usually on a weekend, it's usually an all-day event, and we'll work together to make sure it works for
Do
everybody.
you know what usually the hours are on the weekend?
All day.
It's all day, so it's usually from like, what, 9 to 5?
Not overnight, though.
Like 4 or 5?
Like 9 to 5, how do we do it last
Yeah, I
time?
think we did 9 to 5.
Yeah, we do lunch and, okay?
I just have one more thing to say.
Yes.
I was kind of hoping to say after we did our vote, I just wanted to say, I'm very honored to have this opportunity to serve the youth and our families of San Mateo County, whereas I've been serving the youth and families of my community in San Bruno that I call home, and just to be able to serve in this capacity, not only serving the youth and families of San Bruno, but also, countywide. So I look forward to this position title I'm holding currently. So
Thank you, we're happy to have you.
my new colleague wants to say anything.
I'm not a big talker, but
All right.
I enjoy it. I like to get the background on what's going on and how do we maneuver. I definitely love the reimagining because, like I said, I've heard the conversations here and I've heard the conversations here, and they're saying a lot of the same things. And I love trying to watch how do we make it align. So I like being part of that. So.
All right, well, thank you so much. And it is 7:15 and the meeting is
Is now
officially
adjourned.
adjourned. Thank you so much.